Hello YouTube! Today I am going to be talking about Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. This video is also sponsored by Disney Hyperion, so thank you. We are going to do a little tiny summary of this book, and then we're going to do a Passenger-inspired book challenge, which I'm very excited about. So this book I actually first heard about back at BEA last year. There's a huge line for it, which I waded in, and then I proceeded to not read the book until recently, which was a big mistake because this book was awesome. This is a book about a girl named Etta. She is a violinist and she loves playing violin. And in the middle of an important violin performance, something crazy happens and she actually gets sort of pulled from her world and put in another time and ends up on this crazy adventure involving time traveling and all sorts of super exciting, awesome things, and I don't want to get too much into the plot because I don't want to spoil anything for you, but if you like adventure and a little bit of romance and ultimately solving a large mystery, then you will probably like this book. I really enjoyed reading it and I give it a big thumbs up. But the real point of this video is to do a book challenge where we are going to go to a bunch of different countries through books. Because Passenger is a time travel book, we visit a lot of different places and times in this book, and so I'm going to recommend to you guys some of my favorite books that take place in other countries. I'm going to preface this video by saying that this was a very eye-opening exercise because I realized that I don't actually own a lot of books that take place outside of the United States or like a fantasy world. So one of my goals for 2016 is to read more books that take place in other countries. So if you actually have any suggestions for books that you loved that took place in countries other than the one that I live in, please let me know down in the comments below because I want to sort of expand my reading library when it comes to geographical locations. But here are the ones that I did have. So we are going to start our journey in London. This is The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. I really love this series. There are 3 books out now and there will be a 4th. I believe it is only 4. But this is about a girl who studies. She's going to school in London and gets involved with a mystery going on that involves the ghost of Jack the Ripper. And then she gets sort of thrust into this whole world of ghosts and the people who are sort of like a police task force for ghost management, which is just such a cool concept and I love it, and this book is just I just can't wait for the next one. I hope you enjoyed our stop in London because we are now moving just a little hop, skip, and a jump away to France. This is Anne and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. This is the first book in this sort of loose trilogy about 3 different girls who are all sort of vaguely connected and all have these sort of epic romantic things happen to them. So Anna and the French Kiss is also about a girl who goes and is studying in France. So also I'm realizing that I read a lot of books about American people who go to other countries, and I really need to read some books about just people who are from other countries. So like I said, that is a goal of mine. But Anna and the French Kiss is a wonderful, happy little book that I really enjoyed. She of course goes to France and meets a boy and they fall in love and they have a really sweet story, and this is just, if you're looking for just a really feel-good love story, Steph Perkins is really good at those. Next, we are going to take a longer flight and we are going to find ourselves in Japan. This is Madoka Magica, the graphic novel series, and this is actually The Different Story, which is a companion novel series that sort of gives you a different story than what is in the original manga and also the anime. So this takes place at a school in Japan, and outside and around that school in Japan. It's a very good gateway anime. I love it because it's got funny elements and it's really well done, but it's also really dark. So it's you know, usually magical girl stories are like sort of really lighthearted and fluffy and fun, and Madoka Magica really turns that on its head by giving you just a really dark instance of what it can mean to be a magical girl, and it's just awesome. This is how bad it is, guys. This is how bad my books from other countries collection is. The next one that I'm going to take you to in Germany, The Book Thief. I haven't actually read yet, but it's really high up on my TBR, so I figured I could at least include it in this video. I've heard nothing but amazing things about The Book Thief. It's a lot of people's favorite book. There's a little free library down the road, and I put a lot of books in the little free library because I kind of feel like as a booktuber, it's sort of, I've taken it on as my personal responsibility to make sure that my street has many good things to read. But this was one of the few books that I actually took out of the free little library because it was just sitting there waiting for me. So I took it. So this takes place in Germany. The last book that I'm gonna recommend to you, actually is gonna take us off the planet entirely and out into space. I figured that we could end our little romp around the world by getting out of this world. So this is These Broken Stars. I've talked about this book many times on my channel, but this is a book that partially takes place up in a spaceship out in space, and I love it. And then we crash land on a completely different planet. So now we've gone not only up into space, but also to a completely different world in our journeys. So like I said, this video brought up a little bit of a mid-book life crisis about my lack of reading of other countries. So please, please, please recommend your favorites down below, and I will be adding some of those to my TBR. Also, let me know if you've read Passenger. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really excited that I got to work with Disney Hyperion to make this video and help you guys find out about it. And that's it for this video. I will be back soon with another one, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.